picture a tightrope walker. They've done their act, right? And they're nearing the end of their act. They've already done it, and they got to get off the rope.
Yep.
And I was thinking about this as I was driving here tonight. Even I didn't put this in the notes, but I was thinking, like, if it was a circus act or something, there was other things going on, then the audience is already shifting their attention, right? They're like, okay, that was great. That was a great act. And they're already just starting to shift their attention.
Yep.
But they're nearing that end, and if they lose focus for even, and I read something I was telling you about, but I read something about this with tightrope walkers, is that's like some of the biggest mistakes, is at the very end, if they lose focus for 1 second or there's any kind of deviation or anything, then it could literally end in a fall. And then now all of a sudden the audience is looking again, right?
Yeah. Everybody's attention.
But it basically, all that success that he just had to do is this great tightrope walk, this great act, and he could lose all of that by just losing focus at the very, very end. So that's kind of the metaphor, and that's where this comes from, is basically in Sunday school leadership and church leadership. I've seen it so often, we'll get into some of this, but where you can start strong and then fizzle out.
Yep.
But the end is just as important as a good start.
Absolutely. And I would say with that, usually there's two endings to finishing. It's either you lose or you win. And the determining factor in that is, I would say, let's take the tightrope person for example. When they're walking on there, at that point they're probably tired, probably exhausted.
Yeah.
But they've got two choices. They're either going to allow themselves to be motivated that, hey, I'm almost to this finish line. I've already come this far.
Yes.
And why would I stop now? Why would I, lose my focus now? Or they could become apathetic and be like, well, I've made it this far. I got it. It's a piece of cake.
It's
and
done.
it's that attitude that, I got this, whatever. I don't really need to put the work in. That's what's going to make it,
could
fall.
Could make you or break you.
And so you got to definitely have that mindset of, this is my moment. I've got to make it through this. I've got to finish this. And you got to be more focused, more aware.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's good. Yeah. And I think, in the context of what we're talking about, like I said, I've seen this so many times, is where people, they get, I guess, inspired. I was going to look up a quote before we started, and I just, ran out of time. But I believe it's Martin Luther King, and I've referenced it before, but he talks about something about, like, I'm going to probably butcher this, right? But it's something like commitment is when you stick with your decision long after the passion in which you made that decision is gone.
That's good.
Right? So you're all passionate. I mean, we all do that. We get fired up.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's a season, like a New Year's thing, that's coming up not too far away. New Year's maybe for some people. Sometimes it's a seminar that you go to. Sometimes it's a conference.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just a good old-fashioned service,
Yeah.
And I think inspiration is great. All those inspiring times are, they're awesome. But the commitment, and I'm pretty sure it's Martin Luther King that said that, is when you stick with it long after all that inspiring feeling and all that fire is gone, you stick with it. You keep on going.
Yeah, you just keep pressing in it. Son, I was actually just talking to a good brother in our church about, and we were talking about prayer, and I referenced Daniel. We know the story where he's praying, and I believe it's 21 days, and he has a specific prayer that he's praying for an answer. And so it was on the 21st day, or I believe it was after, where the angel appeared to him and gave him his answer. But he said, I heard you at your first day, but I was making my way towards you throughout the whole time you're praying.
Yes,
now, I was wondering, what would have happened if Daniel stopped praying after, the first week? He says, hey, I haven't seen my answer yet.
Yeah.
Or even 20 days. He's 20 days in.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm done praying. I mean, it's possible that angel wouldn't have made it over there without him continue praying. He was right at that finish line.
Right there, right, so close. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ruin another podcast. So this would be a great topic, and maybe we will talk about it sometime. But do you remember what boiling water is?
Oh, the temperature.
It's like 200 and something.
I should know.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is. I want to say 212 degrees, and somebody's probably laughing at me because it's wrong. But whatever it is, I've talked about that. I think I've talked about it at youth. But you could be that 1 degree away. And so from, right now it's just boiling water. It's hot water. You can make tea with it. Throw some macaroni in there or whatever, and you could cook with it. But then that 1 degree, you can actually move a train. You can move a ship. They used to do that with all that steam.
Yeah.
Because once it turns to steam. And so you could be that 1 degree away. And that's like what you're saying is if we could push all the way to the end.
Yeah.
All the way to the end.